We're live on YouTube. Welcome to the world, or welcome world. I hope everybody's well. I hope you're well, actually, because when we're talking to cameras, we're talking to people, aren't we? Not groups of you. You're all in your rooms or your homes or your offices, and you're all watching this camera or watching this video that I'm recording for you. Hopefully you're watching it live. I'm Paul Archer. But you know that because it says it down there. Where? There. Where is it? There. It's on that side, isn't it? You can see me, and you can see my company's name up there, and all those good things. Let's get on to our boot camp, shall we? And get on to what we're talking about here this morning. Hope everybody's fine and good. We just had our jabs actually last week, Shelley and I, and Shelley's still recovering from her shadows on Saturday. Knocked me out for a day or so, but hey. We're all immune now, I think. I don't know if that's the case. We can't do anything, and social distancing apparently is going to go on for another couple of years, and we can't go abroad. So what do? You go down to Cornwall with everybody else, because there's going to be millions of people down there this year. Absolute millions. Those 6 weeks of school holidays are going to be an absolute nightmare, aren't they, down in Cornwall or Wiltshire or the Lake District, wherever you want to go. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to some important topics for you, because we've got to get important, because the mortgage sector is a very important place, isn't it? Financial services we're very important, aren't we? And sometimes I think we just need to grow up a bit and just get out of that sort of stiff suit type of aspects that we have at the moment. Diversity is the big thing at the moment. All the companies now are thinking about diversity in their workforces, and about time too. The regulators starting to make moves on this one, saying they're going to come down hard on firms that don't. Why does it need a regulator to do it? Surely it's the normal thing to do, isn't it? You need a diverse workforce. It's just normal. We should represent the society, but unfortunately we don't. You take a look at some of the Zoom calls on LinkedIn of new recruits to the various financial services companies, and they're not diverse. They're not. I mean, I saw one, won't talk about who it was, but it was all white middle-class males. I'm sorry, but it's wrong. They've got to get their recruitment sorted. They've got to have diversity. It's a key thing, and my role, remember, is to get as many people into the mortgage sector as possible, so you can join the mortgage sector, make a good living, enhance yourself into the financial services sector too. And we go straight to you. There's no middlemen involved here. We go straight to you, because we can now with technology, and that's what we're all about. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to a nice topic to start things off, shall we? Now, this one's called the CPI and the shopping basket and inflation. So quite a lot of titles there actually going on there. So let's pop the title up there for you. Let's see how far we can go up here on the board. That's fine. So we're talking about the CPI, of course, the Consumer Price Index. We're talking about inflation, which is what this is about. And I'm talking about the shopping basket, because I read some really interesting stuff at the weekend about the shopping basket. Now, a lot of people ask me about inflation. Inflation is a key thing in mortgage advising, in doing your CMAP examinations. You've got to understand inflation. It affects what we do, probably more than anything else at the end of the day. Now, the CPI is the one we use now. That's the one that the government used to measure inflation. There is the old RPI, which is the old one now. It's been phased out. CPI is a much more advanced one. You've also got CPIH. It sounds like a rap song, doesn't it? CPIH, and that includes housing costs, which is rent, mortgage, council tax, that sort of thing. Anyway, you probably knew that, didn't you? Because you're up to date on these things. But I was reading about the basket, because what happens, as you can appreciate, to measure inflation, the government departments actually have this fictitious basket of goods and services that are bought and sold in the UK. And what they do, they have a lot of people that do this, the civil servant types, and they actually measure almost 2,000 or so of these items. For example, computers, whatever it is, goods and services. They measure 180,000 price points around the UK. And their measure apparently was at 720 different goods and services. And what they do, they just see how much they go up or down in price. That's all. They look at different price points. So they'll look at the internet, they look at the phone call sales, they look at shops, if we ever have those things again. So they look at one good, for example, that's purchased on, say, Amazon or by phone or at a local garden centre, and they'll compare the prices. So it's a very accurate way of assessing how prices are going up or down, thus measuring inflation. And it makes sense at the end of the day. That's how it works, isn't it? So how does it work then? Well, we're looking at people's buying habits, we're looking at trends, we're looking at how things change all the time. And what's really interesting, what I've picked up recently, is the baskets of goods. And I've got here what's gone into the basket recently, what's gone out, because the things that we buy and sell, I mean, the 720 goods and services that the basket has do change as life goes on. I mean, recently, for example, couscous has come in to the basket. Couscous, which is Waitrose land, isn't it? But don't please write to me and complain or email if you shop at Waitrose. But couscous is known for that kind of thing, isn't it? Rice is still there, but couscous has come in as well. Apparently, coffee sachets have come in as well recently. Coffee sachets. The reason behind that one is that people do buy coffee granules. Of course they do. They have coffee machines, but most people buy coffee in sachets now. Your lattes, your nice coffees, sachets have come into being. It's loungewear, men's loungewear, because that's the lockdown, isn't it? People are wearing tracksuit bottoms or loungewear now rather than suits and ties. What's gone out recently? Well, white chocolate went out apparently recently. People don't buy much white chocolate. The Milky Bar Kid kind of stuff, it's gone because it's not trendy anymore. Because that's the point. They have to keep up to date with what people are buying and selling to measure a proper inflation. Ground coffee, of course, as I mentioned to you, has gone out. So ground coffee, actually, I get ground coffee. I still buy my beans, but it's not as the younger generation buy the sachets with your skinny lattes with oat milk and all those sort of good things, and that's totally fine. Shows how things are changing, doesn't it? The other one that's gone out is the staff restaurant sandwich. There you are. The staff restaurant sandwich has gone out because people aren't in staff restaurants anymore. And if they do, they're not eating staff restaurant sandwiches because they're a bit posher, though, aren't they? Axminster carpets have gone out as well. Whatever an Axminster carpet is. Hand gel has come in because that, again, is something that we're buying lots of now. So they're measuring the prices of hand gel and home weights as well. Your dumbbells. I bought 7 kilo or an 8 kilo dumbbell. We've got a gym upstairs, so I've got a 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 kilo dumbbells. They're blooming expensive, which shows you, of course, that prices are rising. And that's the last thought to leave you with, because things are starting to trickle upwards. Prices are going up left, right and centre. I predicted this because we've got a bit of a supply shock at the moment with this kind of recession, because we are in a recession. Theoretically, because the government have kept the economy ticking over. They've kept us on aspect as such. They've kept us frozen with all the furlough payments, etc., and all the money, all the grants. So when we come out of all of this, which we are because we're all getting jabbed, when we come out of this, then the economy will boom. Demand is massive at the moment. There's pent up demand, there's money everywhere. But their supply of goods and services is restricted, and there's supply shocks. So take, for example, petrol. That's going up in price now as well because the demand is starting to pick up again. We're getting some decking done to our back garden, and trying to get a builder is very difficult anyway. When you do get one that's good, the prices are high, and they can pretty much charge what they want because there's not that many builders or landscape architects around to service the need and the demand. Therefore, prices start to go up. Agents' fees, estate agents now really busy again. You don't get many deals on estate agency fees anymore. You don't get sub 1% anymore, do you? It's all 1.5% because they can, you see, because they're in demand. Food is going up in price now because of exporting and importing now, issues around Brexit, whatever you want to call it. Inflation is going up. CPI is starting to rise. Everyone's talking about it. Even the monetarists are talking about M2, which is a measure of money supply in an economy, is starting to rise. That indicates that money is a wash, or the economy is a washer of money. Monetarists believe in that. And therefore prices start to rise. Quantitative easing hasn't helped because pretty much we've paid for the money that the government have borrowed on COVID by printing money. Called quantitative easing, is the posh name for it now, but it's just printing cash, and all that's all done digitally, isn't it? Because obviously the government prints the money, Bank of England prints the money, the Bank of England then gets like big plus signs in its bank account. It then buys the bonds the government's been issuing, because the bonds the government been issuing haven't been gone to the marketplace, by the way. They've gone straight to the Bank of England, who bought them with printed money. Not a lot of people know that. And as I said before, the government effectively own the bonds that they issue. Hello, the government pays interest on the bonds at tiny percentages, but the government are paying it to the government. That's weird, isn't it? But that's how they're paying for coronavirus. That's how they're paying for all this money that they're spending, which is why they're quite happy to spend it at the moment. But it's causing inflation. Big issue that, as a mortgage advisor, you need to be aware of that. You need to be planning for that yourself. Inflation itself means a couple of things, really. Debt's good with inflation. Oddly enough, if you have debt, the value of debt comes down as inflation rises. So big mortgages in a few years' time become small mortgages. Think about that. The government got this huge national debt now. The only way to get rid of a national debt, well, you can tax people more, but they're not doing that. Rishi didn't really increase taxes, did he? Okay, there's a bit of fiscal drag going on there by not increasing allowances, but the pure fact is the bloke hasn't increased tax. Therefore, we're not going to pay off the national debt by increasing taxes. Okay, the economy will boom again, but no, they'll get rid of the debt by inflationizing it. Did it after the Second World War? We had a massive debt. The only way you get rid of it is inflationize the debt. So that a debt of 2 trillion now is a lot of money, but in 10 years' time, inflation makes it worth much, much less. Debt's good. Assets are also good when there's high inflation, because assets go up in price as well. So assets, gold, shares, houses. Hello, houses, mortgages, thinking debts here in the house. They kind of go together, don't they? So high inflation is good, as long as people can contain the high interest rates that go with it, because the government will, as inflation starts to rise, to get rid of that, which they still said they're going to keep to the 2%, aren't they? As inflation starts to rise above the 2, they'll look at ways of getting rid of that. And the first thing they do is they increase interest rates. Interest rates will start to trickle upwards. That'll give the banks and the lenders the excuse to put their rates up. They don't need an excuse anyway. They do it anyway, don't they? I mean, the bank base rate's 0.01% and mortgage rates are 4% now. They've been whacking that margin up, haven't they? Just trying to make some profit. Got to think about these things. That's how banks and building societies and lenders work. They like to make profit. They like to make margins. But as the bank rate goes up, the banks, building societies, special lenders will increase their rates. So think about fixes for your clients. Think about a good old 5-year fix. Maybe even look at a 10-year fix. Be careful of redemption penalties, though, on those things, because people can't move that readily, can they? But interest rates will start to rise, and it'll make a big difference on mortgage payments. It will do. We've joked about stress testing at 6% in the past, but it may well be that interest rates, again, will hit the 6% mark. They did before the financial crash. People forget that. We had interest rates trickling up to 5, 6, 7% just before the crash. The crash happened and went right down. Back in the early 90s, we had interest rates of 12, 13, 14%. People forget that. They hurt those monthly payments. So be careful of that as well when you're talking to your clients. So that's CPI, really. And inflation, the old shopping basket. I love the old couscous. It's very Waitrose, isn't it? Enough of that. See you soon. Bye. There you go, couscous. I think bulgur wheat needs to come in next, isn't it? Bulgur wheat will be the next one, and brown rice. All these posh foods that people like to buy. You wait till inflation starts rising, and people can't afford all the posh things. They'll go back to the basics again. It's what people do, isn't it? Humans don't change very much. Difficult times. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go on to another topic, shall we? Hope everybody's well, enjoying the spring as it's coming through. It's a lot more daylight now, and of course the hours click forward, don't they, by an hour this weekend? Don't they go forward? Spring forward, don't they? They fall back in the fall, spring forward in the fall. So you'll have an extra hour's daylight. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope you are too. Okay, next one is a bit of a Shakespearean one for you. And I've called this one "To Fee or Not to Fee." Yeah, to fee, not pee. Yeah, to fee or not to fee. Yeah. That is the question, said old Shaky. He didn't actually, but I've just said it. And we're talking here about charging a fee. Do you charge a fee or do you not? I've been having an awful lot of conversations recently with new brokers who are becoming self-employed or working for a firm where they're kind of self-employed anyway. Be careful of IR35, by the way. There's a thought for you. That's coming in next month, so have a look into that. That might affect you. Anyway, do you charge a fee or not? Now, I was reading about restaurants at the weekend, And for those of you that like to eat out, hello, when did we last do that? I think it was last summer, wasn't it? And Rishi paid us money towards it, which is very kind of him. But restaurants, of course, are locked down. They're all furloughed. Some of them are going to the wall, and it's not a good industry to be in. And I do feel sorry for people that run these things, because they're people. They run businesses. They've got families like everybody else. Now they're having a troubled old time getting established again when we come out. I think it's on the 12th of April, isn't it? Or May. But the problem that restaurants have got, of course, is no shows. Now, I was reading about Tom Kerridge. He's from around these ways, actually. Tom Kerridge, Gloucester boy. He calls it disgraceful when people book a hotel or a restaurant table and they don't show up, because obviously the restaurants had to allocate food for them, a table for them, and they don't show up, and therefore that's lost money. He calls it disgraceful. And if I was a restaurateur, I would hate it. But they've kind of lived with it up to now. They get around it, don't they? But with COVID over with, where they have to socially distance outside as well, any no-show is a disaster for a restaurant. They cannot afford to deal with that. Now, mortgage brokers are the same in a way, because you arrange mortgages for people, and if you rely totally on a procuration fee, which is your commission from the lender, then you're going to have to wait until the mortgage completes. Now, you do have no-shows in mortgage world, and not a lot of mortgage brokers know that. Now, restaurants, of course, have no-shows. Just talked about that, which we said are awful things, no-shows. We don't like those at all. Now, you guys, mortgage brokers, you have what's called NPWs. That's the official name for it. NPWs is a KPI which you should use to measure your performance, a key performance indicator. Come on to those later. As a mortgage broker, mortgage advisor, of course, what you like, you need to measure your performance. You are in sales, you're running a business like everybody else. Don't think just because you're fully qualified that people are going to flock to you. They won't. And you have to measure your business. Not proceeding withs, as that's called. That's when you arrange a mortgage and you do everything for the client and they don't proceed with it at the end. They don't complete the purchase because they don't. Now, NPWs, of course, can be for mortgages, because a mortgage doesn't complete until the person's moved in. It can also be for protection, life assurance, income protection insurance, whatever it is you sell. Again, that may not complete because you underwrite it and they get accepted, but then you have to put it on risk. And normally it's on exchange of contracts that people put their protection on risk. It doesn't have to be, but normally it is. So if the client doesn't go ahead and buy or remortgage, whatever it is, you ain't going to get nothing, diddly squat for your efforts and toil, just like the restaurant. What do you think about that? Unless, of course, you charge a fee. If you charge a fee, then you are going to get some money up front. So first of all, you've got some cash flow helping you out here, because you do need money to run your business. Of course you do. You need cash. It's like the restaurant needs cash. And you ain't going to get government money apart from the stamp duty, but that's not your money, is it? So you charge a fee. You charge a fee to build commitment. That's the reason you charge a fee. Now, restaurants, as I mentioned to you, are struggling with no-shows. So post-COVID, many of them now are charging a reservation fee. Now, you phone up a posh restaurant in town and you book a table for, as soon as we come under lockdown, they will charge you a reservation fee. And they'll charge your credit card. They'll take your credit card details and they'll charge you. Otherwise, you can't have the table. Now, if the restaurant's popular and in demand, they can do that. Remember, you have to be popular and in demand and good at what you do. If you are, and you show that value, then you're in demand, aren't you? Now, restaurants, of course, have a lovely facade. They've got posh waiters. They've got expensive prices. They've got reviews on LinkedIn. They've got reviews on social media to show how good they are. You need to do the same. You need to show your expertise, your value that needs to ooze from every pore of your body. And that way, of course, it justifies the fee. So the restaurants will charge a reservation fee. You need to charge a fee. Call it a broker fee, an advisory fee, call it what you like. Posh it up. Remember to disclose it. You have to do that, of course, by law. So you do need to do it, and it builds commitment, and that's the whole point. So how then do you charge a fee is the next question. How do you charge a fee? Because it's all well and good charging a fee, but you've got to know how to do it. and I'll give you some hints and tips about how you can charge a fee. First of all, you need to build your value. You need to show your value, what you're worth. That you are worth more than going online and doing it from Habito or online directly to a lender or Trussell or whoever they are. You're worth more. You bring more to the table. What you do to do that is entirely up to you. Maybe face-to-face meetings. It might be Zoom meetings. It might be more meetings. It might be your expertise. It might be your personality. It might be your brand. It might be that you take care of all the paperwork for the client, that you deal with all the various professionals, you get on the phone and chase people. You do a lot. Make sure they know what that is. Make obvious what's transparent so you make visible what's invisible. Just because you do all these things, you've got to let the client know that. You've got to promote it so they know what you do, rather than just get the best deal on a mortgage. Because quite frankly, software can get the best deal on a mortgage. You know, you can just buy a subscription for a decent search engine and it can get you the best deal. You don't do that. You do, but you do a whole lot more beyond just that. You wrap it in a full service proposition. You know, you've got to sound great. I help people buy the mortgage or buy the property. We give you a cracking good mortgage. We have access to every single mortgage deal on the market. Got software here that does that for you, and it's very expensive to buy this software, but it allows me every minute to know what deal's coming up and what deal's not coming up. More than that, I make sure that everything's looked after for you. So it's a full service package. So you buy the house, you get to keep the house. If anything's thrown at you, like fire, flood, death, illness, I make sure it's all protected and you're all looked after, because I want you to be happy in that home. And I'll make sure it all goes through smoothly. I'll talk to all the professionals. Any hiccups, I'll iron them out for you. We do this for our clients and they're very pleased with our service. To do that, we charge a fee. that's all you do. It's the benefits of you for the fee. I was reading a story of a mortgage broker who'd been referred a client, and this client got on the phone and said to the mortgage broker, "Yeah, I've been referred to come and talk to you because I hear you're the best." "Thanks," says the mortgage broker, purring away like a pussycat. And he says to the client, he says, "Okay, so what happened to your previous broker?" Because the client said he had a previous broker. He said, "Well, they didn't charge me a fee." He said, about this previous broker, and the new broker said, "Well, why are you talking to me? Why aren't you talking to them? They don't charge a fee." He said, "Well, I couldn't get hold of them, and they weren't very good, but they didn't charge a fee," was what the client said. And I thought, hold on, that's why they don't charge a fee, because they're obviously too busy, they can't cope. And of course, the new broker charged a fee. So it just makes you think about how clients perceive things, doesn't it? What else are you going to do? Well, charge a fee, give them a lifetime model, give them lifetime access to you, put them in the exclusive club. When I broke, I had a maximum of 75 clients I looked after, and I wasn't allowed to have any more. It was kind of like an exclusive club, an inner circle, if you like, of people. I accept new clients, but not all the time. It has to be a right fit. There has to be chemistry between us. And where there is chemistry and we can assist you, then we charge you a fee to come into this exclusive club comes into it as well. So exclusivity is great. People love all that, don't they? Especially if they've been referred as well. You have a sales process, you have a professional way of dealing with them. You've really got to show them that's why you charge a fee. So be proud of the fee that you charge. I mean, I charge fees to my clients, my corporate clients. I charge fees for whatever work I do. I'm proud of the work that I do. I'm proud of the value I bring in. So feel good about the fee, and then you will then start to charge a fee quite happily. Now, restaurants will be starting to charge these things. You need to measure your KPIs, by the way, your NPWs. You've got to know how many of your cases actually complete. You want to have a percentage for that as well. You want cancellations. There's all sorts of other KPIs that you can measure as a business person. You need to do that. But more importantly, though, you do need to seriously consider charging a fee, because it gets commitment. That's the key thing to it all as well. So I hope you found that useful. Bye. I hope that was good for you. I hope that was fine. Kind of wraps things up. What is it, 25 past? I hope everybody is well, enjoying life, enjoying the mortgage world. It's getting very busy out there. very busy the next few months, isn't it? With people buying properties and remortgaging and holiday lets and buy to lets and everything. It's a great time to be in the mortgage business, I'm quite sure. Remember, we're here to help you along the way. You can talk to me. Go to the website. There it is. Go there and you can sign up to our database. We send out stuff every Monday night now. Have done for years. New information, new articles, sales tips, ideas, and things like that. Boot camp starting up in April. Got a new Spring 2 cohort starting early April. But you can sign up for that now if you want a head start. Give yourself a couple of weeks head start. Get in front of your studies. Lots of people doing their CMAP exams at the moment. We're helping a lot of people through those, which is great. But remember, we help you to become a really good mortgage advisor. I mean, you can pass the test. Anybody can teach you to pass the test. If you want to pass the test, go on a week cram course if you want to pass the test. Won't make you a good advisor. It won't. Just because you pass CMAP doesn't mean it makes you a good advisor. It won't. You need to learn how to do the job, how to be good at what you do, learn the skills, learn the techniques. Remember, there's a lot of you coming into the marketplace now, so the competition's starting to hot up. So you need to get better than the average mortgage advisor. We'll help you do that. So keep in touch with me. We'll help you along the way. Enough of that. Let's talk next week, next Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Don't forget to put the clocks forward. See you then.